Something I'm actually really worried about when it comes to my new apartment is that's like next to a lot of fast food restaurants that I like Papa John's, not Papa John's, Domino's, Cold Stone, Green Turtles. I have a lot of fond memories from Green Turtles, from Green Turtle in high school, Popeyes, Kung Fu Tea. That's a new one I really like now. They have like this strawberry boba tea I like. I think a big worry of mine is that since a lot of it's relatively inexpensive, and with the hope or idea or prayer that I get a job, a lot of the costs for purchasing the items from those restaurants could easily be covered. But my worry is that if I continue doing such a thing, then I'm gonna get obese, I'm gonna get diabetes, and I'm just gonna cough up and just gonna faint, and it's gonna cause more issues in my life. I don't want that to happen. That's like not the ideal path for me right now. So I think that's my worry, right? I think it's really just a matter of discipline. I think something I've been trying to do a lot more recently is that I try and inconvenience myself to practice discipline. So for example, I really like Kung Fu tea, right? There's the strawberry boba tea I was talking about a second ago. So anytime I'm doing like a group or not a group order, a combo order, or like if I get something from Five Guys and Popeyes, I'll talk about that in a second. I say, okay, let me go to Kung Fu tea. Then I get to Kung Fu tea. Then I'll say, actually, you know what? I'm gonna practice discipline. I'm not just gonna get the Kung Fu boba tea because I have to be able to control myself. Even though I want to do something, I have to be able to step in and say, no, right? The issue though, right, as much as I think that's an amazing philosophy and a good practice, I think I found that in a YouTube comment that says something about like the Romans mention of never to eat to fulfill man. I don't know if that's true. That could be a lie on YouTube. The issue though is that the boba tea is probably like the least healthy thing I gather in that meal. So for example, today I got Five Guys fries, then I did a Popeyes combo thing where I got two sets of two, I guess six wings or six mixed wings and chicken. I got Popeyes chicken sandwich, right, for like $10, and the Five Guys fries were like $5, right? The issue is that those two stuff combined, those two meals are way more unhealthy than the boba tea. So I think my thing now is I have to actually take that discipline and apply it to the actually more unhealthy stuff. Um, but yeah, but I do think it's a nice strategy because one thing I learned about during my time in Chicago is that it's nice to kind of have leftovers. So for example, with the Popeyes, I didn't even touch the chicken sandwich because I was way too full from the fries. And the small fries are actually way more than you think they are for Five Guys. But I was way too full from the fries and some chicken, so I just left the leftovers in the fridge. So now tomorrow I don't have to buy food. Right? I know I actually don't have to buy food. Okay, I have a dining plan, but still, the point stays. Um, but yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. I think discipline is just one of those skills that are really important. And kind of to transition in an awkward way, I was talking to a friend about the topic was essentially how do you go about being confident in rigorous school. And I gave my personal perspective, which was one, so it's just prayer for me. I think with everything I do, I just pray. Maybe I'm a really anxious person, but in fact, after I pray, I trust God has made me more than capable to do the thing I need to do. Maybe that thing is not winning, maybe that thing is getting to a certain point and failing to see what I need to practice on. Maybe that's the thing. But I trust that wherever the thing is, God's God given me the abilities to get there, right? So my limitations are not a worry in that sense. Like I don't feel like there's some invisible. I fear sometimes, or I doubt there's an invisible cap, but that ultimately I don't believe there's an invisible cap that's stopping me from doing something. But the other thing is that I also realize that a lot of the stuff that I need to do are possible. Like I remember I had this math class, intro to matrices and linear algebra, and it was really hard class, right? But then I realized something like early on in the class, and it's like that it was a really hard class. But all the time when I even like studied last minute, I started to like grasp some concepts. So I realized what the thing was. It wasn't that there's some difference in the brain structure of people who understand the content in the class and myself. It was just a matter of how much I studied, right? Sometimes it may take me a week to get grasp something that might take on a day. But ultimately, if I can create a study schedule that works best for me, then I can just ace the class easily. And then once I realized that it was that simple, it really just boiled down to discipline. I think that's where I struggle now with a lot of stuff because a lot of the stuff or a lot of the goals I have, the path to them are very simple, right? Very few goals of mine are that complicated in terms of their goals. However, discipline is really what separates me from those goals. For example, I have an application for this big thing AI thing, and low key I could have gotten it done a long time ago. Well, a couple hours ago is probably the better way to phrase it. But it's just I didn't have the discipline. I don't know. Saying I didn't have the discipline feels a bit too passive. But I didn't. Um, employ the discipline necessary to get me to finish that thing. I can say I'm gonna get done right now, but I actually don't know what my schedule for the rest of the night is gonna look like. I think that's just the thing in general. I think that's something I'm still trying to work on because I think the more disciplined I am, the better the outcomes I have are. Like I think that's why I'm so big on systems. I remember when the new year started with 2025, I said I'm not even gonna do New Year goals. I'm just gonna focus on New Year systems. I think that did help a lot, but I think sticking to those systems and building discipline is just an amazing thing I have to continue doing. But yeah, besides that though, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.